from 2003 to 2010. So I think about Carmelo Anthony as a player. I think about what he achieved with the Denver Nuggets, made the playoffs every year that he was on their roster, took them to the Western Conference Championship in 2008 or 2009, one of those 2 years, 08 or 09, took them to the Western Conference Championship, was an all-star 6 of the 7 years that he was there, averaged 26 a game for 8 years that he was there, for 7 years. He was nothing short of fantastic. And I think when I go back and think about what exactly Carmelo Anthony meant to that Denver Nuggets squad, I mean, they were garbage when he got on the crew. They were trash. And they literally built that unit around him, his skill set and what he was. And he thrived. So I think that Carmelo Anthony is absolutely deserving of being a first ballot Hall of Famer, because remember what exactly the Hall of Fame is. One, it's the Basketball Hall of Fame, and two, it's what you're famous for more than anything, right? It's what you're famous for. And what was Carmelo Anthony famous for? Carmelo Anthony was famous for being a bucket getter. He was a winner in college, right? And he got to the NBA. He made some deep runs in the playoffs, got out of the first round a couple of times, got to the Western Conference Championship. So I think he's well deserving of being a first ballot Hall of Famer, and his jersey 100% needs to be retired. I mean, that last comment of Joker overtook what Carmelo Anthony did. Well, first of all, the way that thing, if I wore number 24 and I got busy here wearing number 24 and somebody else came in and did something astronomical, that doesn't erase what I did. That does not erase what I did. What I did doesn't go away. And before he showed up, I was considered the best player to ever play here. That includes David Thompson. That includes Alex English. I was considered the best player to ever play for the Denver Nuggets. I was considered the best player to ever play here. So, because of that, right? Because of that, 100%. I'm of the belief that immortalizing players is a big deal. I am. I'm 100% of the belief that immortalizing players is a big deal. It matters to me that when you go into an arena and in 50 years, we want people to know that this guy played here and he was awesome in the time that he was here. And I think that the way he ended up leaving, the way he ended up leaving Denver kind of left a sour taste in the mouths of the people in Denver. But even with that being said, it wasn't to the extent where they should have handed that number 15 to somebody else. No, that's not the way that, I mean, he fulfilled his obligations, and he ended up ended up being a sign and trade because he didn't want to leave. He didn't just leave them. Like, he actually worked with Denver to get them a good package. They ended up with guys like Wilson Chandler and Gallinari, guys like that. So I 100% believe that he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt about that. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and it goes to show with him being a first ballot Hall of Famer, yes, his jersey should definitely be retired in Denver. Now, again, I can appreciate the logic of him or of Denver, them not feeling how this whole thing transpired when he left, but I don't think that's an excuse, because I don't think what he did was outlandish. He was there for 7 years, right? He was there for 7 years, and in the 7 years that he was there, he did a lot for that organization. Yeah, he did a lot for that organization. So I think that this generation, not being able to see Carmelo Anthony and see how good he really was and what he meant to that Denver Nuggets organization, I don't think it's a travesty. I just think that it's unfortunate that you weren't around to see him, but that's why we got stuff like YouTube. So you can actually go back and go take a look at Carmelo Anthony and see how good he really was and how awesome he was for that Denver Nuggets organization. No doubt about that. Since we're on the subject of awesome, since we're on the subject of awesome, Joker's been nothing less or nothing short of awesome this season. He's been everything that is what awesome is, everything. And we got a pretty interesting MVP race. Now, I'm not one of these people that buys into the narrative of, voter fatigue. And the reason why I don't buy into it is off the strength of these guys still coming in second. So people are still voting for them. They're still at the top of the leaderboard. And there might be some things that are a bit unfair when it comes to this. When Joker's being compared to himself instead of compared to his peers. That's what happened with James. Right? That's what happened with James from 2014 up until now. James was compared to what he was from his last league MVP in 2013. And because of that, he missed out on a bunch of different MVPs. I personally think that in 2018, there was a real conversation for him to be the league MVP, considering what they had done with that Cleveland team, getting 7 new players on the roster in the summertime, flipping the roster, and then flipping the roster again at the trade deadline with 5 new guys. So that's 12 new guys. And he still managed to drag that team to a 4 seed. I don't know how many guys would have been able to do that. And he still was able to do that. I'm not talking about what he did in the postseason. I'm just talking about what he did in the regular season. And in 2020, I personally think he should have won the MVP that year. I think the conversation for me is louder in louder in 2020 than it is in 2018. I'm very excuse me, I'm very confident in that, off the strength that if COVID doesn't shut the season down, I think he's the he's the league MVP. And I don't think that I think Giannis, for what Giannis had done, being on one of the best offensive teams, if not the best offensive team in the league at that time, and being the best defensive player. And I think a lot of you guys go off the fact that he was the defensive player of the year, so that means he was the best defensive player in the game. Well, just because you're the defensive player of the year does not mean you're the best defensive player in the game. Because Anthony Davis has something to say about that. And Rudy Gobert has something to say about that too. But he won a defensive player of the year. But in terms of offense, I mean, the Lakers were pretty proficient as an offense. James led the league in assists that year. They were on before COVID shut the season down. They were on their way to a 60-plus win season, very much like what Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee won 61 games that year. The Lakers are on pace to win 60-plus games that year, and the Lakers won 60-plus games that year. And with them winning that many games, and you guys know how important narrative is when you're talking about the league MVP. And during that time, he had outplayed Giannis that second time, and the tide had shifted. That second time when they came to LA, he clearly had outplayed Giannis. When Milwaukee came to Los Angeles, and then they were still rolling, and then COVID shut the season down and threw a monkey wrench in everything that they were doing. So I personally think that James would have won the league MVP. I can appreciate how important Anthony Davis was, because I think that an argument can be made that Anthony Davis, I think an argument can be made that Anthony Davis is the most important guy on that crew. Very much like what Scottie Pippen was with Jordan. But You know, for a guy to be averaging 25 and 10, which leads the league, 25 and 10 assists, which leads the league in assists, and for everything he was doing for that crew, I'm having a difficult time keeping the league MVP away from him that year. And I had said before the season started in September of 2019, when they had announced that they were moving James to the lead guard, I remember saying, right, I vividly remember saying, if James leads the league in scoring, he's going to win the league MVP and they're going to win the NBA championship. I said that before the season started. And that was going to happen, but COVID shut the season down. So here we are in 2025, and the stuff that Joker is doing is pretty astronomical, right? It's pretty astronomical. But also what I see from SGA, I think that everything that an MVP is, he's doing it. Everything that you need to check that when you think about what the league MVP is, he checks all the boxes, everything. Consistency. I think he's missed 2 games all year long. I think he's on pace to play 80 games or close to 80 games this year. So consistency, check. Elite player, check. Scorer, check. Rebounder, distributor, check. He's averaging 5 rebounds and he's averaging 5+ rebounds and 5+ assists, which is big time. Check at the guard spot, not at the not at the big spot, but at the guard spot. Elite on the defensive side of the basketball, on an elite defensive team. They're winning. Check. So everything that's necessary in order to win the league MVP, SGA checks all the boxes. And the separator, which I've stood on this logic, I've stayed on this logic, and I will die on this hill. Winning will always matter when it comes to the league MVP. Always. Last year, the league MVP was Joker. Him and SGA, they were tied for first place. The year before that, some people say that Joker should have won it. Denver was in first place. Joel Embiid won it. Philly was in third place. Joker in 22 was an anomaly. Russell Westbrook in 17 was an anomaly. The only guy to finish outside, with the exception of those two, the only guy to finish outside of the top 3 in winning was Moses Malone in 81. Houston finished 4th in the Western Conference that year. Other than that, with the exception of both Russ, who did something astronomical, which was average a triple-double, and I'm not on the fence about this. The voters got it wrong. And the reason why I say the voters got it wrong, not because they voted for Russ to be the league MVP, it was why they voted for him. And the fact that they voted for Russ off the strength of him averaging a triple-double, that kind of threw a monkey wrench in it, because he went on to do it 3 more times, which means that if that was the basis of it, even though he led the league in scoring, and I think he led the league in assists that year too, and he averaged double-digit rebounds. So off the strength of him averaging a triple-double, now that's the basis. So if he ends up averaging a 25-point triple-double 2 years later, he did that. And then he averaged a 2010 triple-double. I don't think you guys understand what averaging a triple-double means. I'm almost involved in every play of the game. Every play of the game, I'm almost involved in that. So with that being said, if you're going to use that as a basis, and you're going to use that for Joker to win league MVP, Russ should have won it 4 times, because he did that 4 times. And I don't know. And by the way, all 4 of those teams that he did that on, if I'm not mistaken, he did that in 17. They made the playoffs. He did it in Houston. They made the playoffs. He did it in Washington. They made the playoffs. I think they missed the playoffs one time. Yeah, I think they missed the playoffs one time. What up, Ori? How you doing, brother? I think they missed the playoffs one time. So because of that, that was the standard. That was the precedent. So if Russ was the precedent, then you can't tell me that I'm giving the league MVP to a guy off the strength that he's averaging a more efficient triple-double. That's moving the goalposts. That's completely moving the goalposts. And that logic doesn't work with me. Because when you average a 25-point triple-double, whether I'm shooting 35% at the long ball line or whatever I'm shooting from the field, if I'm shooting 40%, I'm still involved in almost everything. I'm still involved in almost every play in the game. And that's what you're constituting this as. So I don't think Joker, for all intents and purposes, case is based on him averaging a triple-double. No, Even though what he's doing in terms of his statistics are nothing short of fantastic. And I do understand the logic of how important he is to that Denver Nuggets team. I get that all day long. 100% I get that. And the reason why I get that is because they are where they are because of him. 100%. They are where they are because of him. I literally had a conversation earlier today where Ron is telling me that we've seen teams win without great players. Well, the difference with that is, as a great player, without great players, you're prepared to play without these great players. So we knew we had Sengun from the beginning. We knew we had Jalen Green, even though Jalen Green is a great player, even though I think Sengun is a great player. We knew that we had these guys from the beginning. So you having Joker, I mean, that's what you have to work with those guys in Houston, right? That's exactly what you have to work with those guys in Houston. We got the best player in the league. So when he's off the floor, that doesn't matter that much. Off the strength that we know we're getting him back. We got the best player in the league. So we're prepared to play with him. We're not concerned with, okay, we don't have Joker. Okay, we don't have Joker for 5 minutes. We don't have Joker for 7 minutes. We don't have Joker for 4 minutes. But we have him. And because we have him, we know that whatever or however bad we are, it could get made up off the strength of him. So the idea of great players, right? The idea that you can win without great players, I think that's legit, but I think that there needs to be something added to it. It's not like we don't have great players that we knew that we weren't, it's not like we didn't know what we were going to have right from the beginning. And that's what Houston knew. They knew that they were going to have Sengun. They knew they were going to have Jabari Smith. They knew they were going to have Jalen Green. They knew they were going to have Dylan Brooks. They knew they were going to have Fred VanVleet. They knew that they were going to have all of these guys. They knew that. And like Ori tells me this logic right here. What about the logic that no one in NBA history has accomplished what Joker has? The fact of a 3-time MVP is having the best season. Well, this is the question that I have for you, Ori. If that's the case, if he's doing something unprecedented, if he's doing something unprecedented, then can I say the same thing about what's going on in Oklahoma City? What about the fact that the Oklahoma City Thunder have the best net rating in NBA history? Now, there are some people who will tell you, well, they got a great team. You don't take 33 a game, 5 rebounds and 5 assists, 5+ rebounds and 5+ assists off that, and it just keeps rolling. This is the best defense, arguably, in NBA. No, the best defense in NBA history. You don't take a guy who's averaging almost 2 steals a game off of that, and they still are the same. No. So what Joker is doing is historic. I'm not going to argue that. 100%. What he's doing individually is historic. So is SGA. And it's contributing to his team winning. And I think that's where the separator is for me. How much are you impacting winning? And I think that voters get wrapped up a lot of times in how good you are compared to you. That's why James doesn't have any more league MVPs after 10 years. How good are you compared to you? Instead of how good are you compared to your peers? Well, how good is Joker compared to his peers? I think Joker personally is the best player in the league. And I'm not going to argue that. And the reason why I'm not going to argue that, because I see how much Joker has affected the game. Not affected the game. I take that back. I see how much better Joker is on the offensive side of the basketball than everybody else. We have players who are exceptions, because I noted that of me being a guy who cares about two-way players. I've always cared about two-way players, and I always will care about two-way players. No doubt about that. But then there are the exceptions. Magic was an exception. Curry was an exception. James Harden was an exception. These guys are exceptions to the rule. You can have exceptions to the rule, but still stick to your principles. That can go, those two things can coexist. You can have exceptions and still stick to your principles and still stick to your philosophies. And I am one who stands on the logic that as good as you, there is no such thing for me as a two-way player. I've never bought into that logic. You play, I play basketball. I play on the offensive side of the ball, and I play on the defensive side of the ball. I don't just play on the offensive side of the ball. I always called those guys, ever since I was younger, I called those guys specialists. That's what they were. You specialized in offense. But then there's exceptions to that. There's guys who are so good offensively that it outweighs how deficient they are defensively. And that was Magic. That was Curry. That was James Harden. And Joker. These guys are so good on the offensive end of the floor that it outweighs what they do. That's why they are the exception to the rule. So I say that to say what SGA has done this season in terms of affecting winning with his play on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball, I feel like has earned him, yes sir, Luka too, no doubt about it. I think with Luka it's a little bit different, because I feel like there's no effort there, but I can appreciate that. I respect Luka. I respect that. But I say that to say, as good as you are and what SGA has been doing all season long and how much he's affected winning on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball, and how good this Oklahoma City team is predicated on what he's done, I think he's earned the league MVP this season. I don't think he got robbed last year. There's some people who will make the argument, well, he was robbed last year. Well, wait a minute. He was robbed by who? You know, it wasn't like they handed it over to somebody else. It was Joker. It was the best player in the league. And it wasn't I'm in the minority. Excuse me. I'm in the minority when I say I don't think it was one of those, here trophies because we didn't give it to you this year. No. I think it was legit. I 100% believe it was legit. I'm not on the fence thinking that, he got a pity league MVP. No, that's not what happened at all. No, I'm not buying that at all. No, he earned league MVP honors last year, no doubt about that. And because he earned league MVP honors, because he earned it, he should have gotten awarded the league MVP. And I respect that. I respect that all day long. So, I think SGA has earned the league MVP this season. I think SGA has done everything necessary in order to be the league MVP. He checks all the boxes of being the league MVP. No doubt about that. And not at least in my estimation. Now, does that mean that he's going to win it? I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure if he's going to win it, but if I had a vote, I'm voting for SGA to win it. And since we're on the subject of winning, this playoff race has become one for the ages, man. It has. I just watched the Memphis Grizzlies go from the number 2 seed to the 8 seed. That's what I just saw with the Memphis Grizzlies. They went from the 2 seed less than a month ago to they are now fighting for their playoff lives. They've lost 7 of their last 9. Right? They've lost 7 of their last 9 games, including 4 straight. They just fired their coach. There were no repercussions for Ja. He wasn't reprimanded or anything like that. No, that's not what happened. He was good. It was more of a warning, and it was a warning off the strength of him having priors. And with him having priors, okay, we didn't need to, we didn't need to lay the smackdown on you, but we are watching you. Yes, we are. We are paying attention to you. So with that, this Eastern Conference, this Western Conference has been nothing short of spectacular. I mean, I think I had 7 or 8 teams winning 50 games this year. 7, where the 6 and the 7 seed in the playoffs in the Western Conference. I'm sorry, I'll take that back. From 5 to 8, not even 6 to 7. I'm talking 5 to 8. They're only separated by a half game. And these teams we're looking at, today is Thursday, I'm sorry. So we're probably looking at another 10 days. So we got about 7 games left in the regular season. And we're separated from 5 to 8. There is no room for error here. None. There is 0 room for error here in this particular playoff race. There is no room for error. None. I think that the Lakers are probably are sitting pretty in that 3 spot, even though they tied with Denver. They could flip to the 4 spot. I think the 3 and the 4 spot, I think those 2 spots could be compromised. But I'm not sure if, even though Denver and the Lakers are 2 games behind, or 2 games ahead of Golden State, I think their bigger issues or their bigger problems are from 5 to 8. Worrying about the Lakers, worrying about Denver and the Lakers, I think that's something completely different. I don't think that that's something that you should be concerning yourself with. No. Your issue is from 5 where you are, holding on to that 5 spot to the 8 spot and staying out of the play-in tournament. That's where I think you guys should be focused on more than anywhere. So I'll be interested to see how this playoff race. I'll be interested to see how this playoff race pans out. I will be, because I'm convinced that I think we can see an upset in the Western Conference early in the playoffs. I do think that. I think we can see an upset early in the playoffs in the Western Conference. I'm not sure who, and I'm confident that the Houston Rockets, if there's anybody that they're looking at that they would rather see, it's Memphis. Because I think they can beat them. I do. I said that a month ago. I said that 2 months ago. I remember watching Memphis come to Houston, and I thought that Amin Thompson did a damn good job on Ja. I felt like he wore him down, and I felt like Steven Adams did a great job in neutralizing Jaren Jackson. I don't think he did a good job. I think he did a great job in neutralizing Jaren Jackson. So I think Houston is very confident in their abilities having to go up against Memphis. And I've said this to you guys in the past, and please believe it. Teams duck smoke. Yes, they do. Teams duck smoke all the time. Yes, they do. These favorable matchups don't just magically become favorable matchups. No. You may see a team lose in March. You may see a team lose in late March or in February because of where the playoff standings are. So we don't have to see them. In fact, I think it would have been better for the Lakers last year had they lost to New Orleans and ended up in that 8 spot. If they end up seeing Oklahoma City last year, I love their chances. I do. I don't like the Lakers' chances last year against Oklahoma City with Anthony Davis and Austin Reeves and James. I love their chances against them. This year, not so much. I think it's a little bit different this year, but last year, I love their chances against them. So with that being said, right, with that being said, this playoff race where the Lakers are in currently the 3rd spot, as of right now, they would have to see Minnesota in round 1. How do I feel about the Lakers against Minnesota in round 1? I think that it's going to be a hard-fought series. I think the Lakers should beat them. Now, I did see Ant take down his childhood hero in KD last year. Swept them dudes out the playoffs. Mopped them. Is that something that could be done again? Is it ridiculous for me to think that Magic, or not Magic, I take that back. Lightning can strike twice. You could catch lightning in a bottle twice. Where the Minnesota Timberwolves end up seeing the Lakers in round 1 and they handle these dudes. So that means I bounced KD last year, right? I bounced KD last year, and in the process of bouncing KD last year, I would bounce James and Luka this year. Wow. That's interesting. That would be really interesting. But I want to hear from you guys, man. I've been talking too much. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. What up?
What up, Chill?
What up?
First off, congrats to Melo on the Hall of Fame for sure.
Absolutely, he deserves it 100%.
Dylan Brooks getting the last laugh right now, ain't he?
I asked of the 16 playoff teams, because he got priors too, just like Ja does. But I asked of the 16 playoff teams, if you look at them from 1 to 8 in each conference, how many of them teams is Dylan Brooks not starting on?
Yeah, you put me on the spot right now, but
well, this is what I'll do. I'll run it down for you really quickly, Vinny. So in the East, is he starting in Cleveland?
Over DeAndre Hunter. DeAndre Hunter coming off the bench though, ain't he?
Yep. And
they got Strus in the starting lineup, right?
I think he starts in front of Max Strus.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'm with
How about in Boston?
Nah, they got their 5.
Does he push Derek White for those minutes?
Nah, they got their 5-man lineup.
Okay, so they straight there. How about with the Knicks? Does he push OG for that run?
Nah, we good over there.
You good over there? All right. How about in Indiana? I think he starts over Nembhard. I think he starts over Neesmith and over Mathurin. I think he starts over both of those guys.
Yep.
How about in Detroit? I think he starts. I think he starts on that Detroit team.
Yeah, he does.
He definitely starts in Milwaukee.
Oh, mandatory. They need that perimeter defense. Come on now.
He definitely starts in Milwaukee. In Orlando.
So I think he's better. I think he's better than KCP today.
100% he's starting in Orlando. In Atlanta.
Yeah. They got Niang starting right now, I think, or LeVert.
And nope, LeVert is a rotation guy. And Dyson Daniels moves to the lead guard spot. And I can move Dyson Daniels over anyway. Even if Jalen Johnson is healthy, I can move Dyson Daniels over.
Yeah, because Dyson is versatile. And Dylan is versatile.
So of those 8 teams, you told me 6 of them he's starting on. That's in the East.
That's just in the East, yeah.
That's just in the East. Now in the West, Oklahoma City. I think
They
J-Dub
got
is
they got their 5
J-Dub
men.
is straight. I think
Yep.
J-Dub is straight. He already starting in Houston. How about with the Lakers? I think
So
he
you would
starts over
take
Rui.
out.
I think he starts over Rui.
Yeah,
I do.
Rui's better as a rotation guy, in my opinion. Anyway,
I think he starts over Rui. How about in Denver? I think he starts over Brown.
we bringing Brown off the bench. Yeah, let's
Yep.
do that. Yeah, I like that.
I think he starts over Brown. How about in Golden State? I think they straight with buckets.
So you would go buckets, Draymond. I think so. When Kuminga comes back, will he start? I would start Dillon over Kuminga.
Yeah, I would too. I 100% would start Dillon over Kuminga. So
all right,
we
I like that
we
too.
start
Let's
him
go.
in Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
How about in Minnesota? How about in Minnesota? I don't think he starts over McDaniels. I think we set there.
No, we good on defense in Minnesota.
Yeah, I think we set there. How about with the Clippers?
So you go Leonard, James Harden, Derrick Jones Jr., I believe.
He's starting in front of him.
Ooh,
He's starting in front of him.
that's tough, Chill.
I know how you feel about Derrick Jones Jr. as an athlete. I do. I know how you feel about him as an athlete. I know how you feel about him as a defender. Who do you think, in your estimation, who is better as a defender? And I want you to and I want you to stop me. This is Dillon Brooks. This is Derrick Jones Jr. This is Dillon Brooks as a defender. Stop me when I say as a defender.
We good right there.
We good?
Sizable gap.
Okay. So with that also being said, I stretch the defense more than he does.
Yeah, we could bring Derrick off the bench. I like it. Come on.
Okay. So and then that leaves Memphis. He already started in Memphis.
Yeah, give me that spot back.
So
y'all in the AC, y'all need me. Y'all in the A spot.
Absolutely, I'm starting in there. So of the 16 teams, I only got 3 teams. I only got 3 teams from you that he not starting on. And we had a conversation about 2 of them.
Damn, Dillon is necessary.
We need him. We 100%
Dillon is
need
necessary.
him.
But before I get on out of here, man,
yep.
I know you're hearing a lot of the talk going on right now about the man himself, Kawhi Leonard. He's getting back into shape. The hype is going around about the Clippers. Are you buying into it? How much stock do you got in the Clippers? Can they pull off an upset in the first round? How you feel about them?
Well, Vinny, I'm already on the train, so I tried to jump off, and I got dragged back on.
How they get you back on, man? Is it Kawhi? Is it James Harden?
What they did was they jumped me, put me in the bear hug, grabbed my feet, and threw me back on the train. I got off. I jumped off. They grabbed me by my shirt. I'm running. It's a mob of them. I'm running. Grabbed my shirt, wrapped me up, and threw me back on the train. You are gonna get on this Clipper train. So what I said, Vinny, and I told all of them, I made it clear to all the Clipper people. I said, when this train crashes and I'm killed, just make sure you know you're the ones who did this.
They paying for the funeral service.
You're the ones who did this. You're the ones who threw me on this. I tried to get off, and you wouldn't let me off. I tried multiple times. When this thing crashes and I'm killed, this is your fault. Just remember that.
What is the ceiling?
With Leonard playing like the ceiling is they can win it.
Damn.
That's the ceiling. I mean, we seen Leonard. Okay, how about this, Vinny? How about
do you like this? Do you like this team more than the past Clippers teams
yes,
with Paul George and all that?
I do. I got a little bit of issue. I got a little bit of issue with Dunn off the fact that
the shooting ability.
Yeah, and he could play himself off the floor, and they got a bit of a size issue, and the fact that Ty Lue, he lives with the small ball lineup. He's definitely a small ball merchant, and it makes me nuts. But Vinny, did I not just see 2 years ago when they played against Phoenix in round 1, those first 2 games, who looked like the best player in the playoffs?
Leonard.
Not in that series. I'm talking about in the playoffs.
It was Kawhi in first 2 games.
If I got arguably the best player in the playoffs on my crew,
we rolling.
We are rolling. And if I could get some of that Leonard back, and I could get that for a 16. The thing I'm worried about when we get closer to, because they're able to. I mean, Leonard has played, pretty consistently. But I'm thinking about when the playoffs start, and we don't really have that much time to rest.
Yeah,
we're playing pretty
every other day after the first round, I believe.
And not only that, the semifinals, the West Finals. I mean, the intensity goes through the roof. This ain't January, Vinny. This ain't February. We ain't dealing with Charlotte here, right? We're trying to get to the West Finals, and we're trying to get past Houston, right? We're trying to get past the Lakers to get to the finals. And Leonard, like those 31, 32 minutes, that's not going to be enough.
We got to go to 40.
We might have to go to 40. Can he sustain that? That's my question.
They saying in the chart, the Clippers the biggest wild card then?
Me and Ox had this conversation about Steph Curry being the most dangerous player to walk on the floor. Boy, Kawhi Leonard got out of the hospital. That dude walking again. And I see the Glocks on his side, and he back on these streets. It's like, this dude back? Uh-oh. We got trouble. We got a lot of trouble.
Damn.
We got a lot of trouble.
It's getting good, man. It's heating up. It's heating up. It's getting good.
Sir.
We got that time of the year. It was good talking to you, Chill.
You know where to find me, brother. What up?
Can't wait till the postseason kicks in, Chill. Oh, God. I literally cannot wait. Back to back. I can't wait.
2 weeks from Thursday, 2 weeks from this Tuesday that just passed is the play-in tournament. 2 weeks from tomorrow, 2 weeks from Saturday, the playoffs start. 2 weeks.
I can't wait. I cannot wait until Adam Silver goes and says, "Congratulations, Boston Celtics are the NBA 2025 NBA champs." That's gonna I'm going to be very, very happy about that. Conversations are going to be different, Chill. Convos are going to be different. I'm going to start pushing crazy Tatum propaganda.
I'm not going to be pushing propaganda. I'm just going to say it. I'm not going to troll. I'm not going to, especially if he plays the way I think he can play in the playoffs and they do what I think that they can do. Remember, Jay, this is the Boston Celtics team that hasn't repeated since the 60s. That's how they did that was with Russell. They didn't do that with Bird.
I mean, that's the guy Tatum keeps saying he wants to catch up to.
They didn't do that with Bird. They did.
I mean, that's he's broken records, right? He's broken records for the Celtics. I think he's going to be their all-time leading scorer by the end of his career. I think he's going to break the all-time leading scorer record for the Celtics. I think he passes Paul Pierce up. We're going to have some dangerous conversations.
Why though? Like, I don't. Why is it dangerous? He's already the quickest to 12,000 points in Celtic history. No player in Celtic history has gotten there quicker.
Because it's going to be very difficult to Bird. I mean, that's the guy who wants to compare himself to. So, I mean, how are we going to make a case for that if he doesn't win any MVPs?
He's got to win some league MVPs, yo. He does. That's
how? With Shea and Jokic doing what they doing? That's not possible.
Sure it is, man. Bird did it with Jabbar and Magic in the league and Moses in the league. He did it.
Well, those were different times, Chill. Come on.
What do you mean? No, we're not doing that. Bird did it with
the political era at that time was a little different. Atmosphere's a little different.
In fact, it was a big man league, which means it was extremely harder to do it with Moses and Jabbar and Magic and guys like that in the league.
Well, true, but Bird's numbers were godly.
Yeah,
I mean, Bird was damn near. Bird was basically 30, 10, and 5 on elite shooting splits. When is Tatum going to get close to that?
Yeah, you know what that means?
I think he's going to have a really good postseason run this year, Chill. This postseason run will be his best of his career. But I got to ask you that. I got to ask you this, Chill. Are there any teams at all in the Eastern Conference that you legitimately think could take us down? I don't see one. Do you see any teams? I don't think Cleveland's that team, though.
No, I don't. Mm-mm.
Damn, you had to think about that for a minute.
I'm thinking about who they have. I'm thinking about who's in the Eastern Conference. I think Detroit will give you a run for your money. I do.
True.
I think Detroit will give you a run for your money off the strength of how rough and rugged they are. I think that they'll give you a run for your money. I'm not buying into the Orlando logic. I think y'all smoked them, dude.
Atlanta's the team that I'm most scared of.
I think
terrified of Atlanta.
I think you could beat them. I think that what you'll do, and this is the Boston Celtics. I think Atlanta could get a game, maybe even 2 games. I do think that. I do think Atlanta could get.
That's gonna scare me, Chill.
Because I know how good Trae Young is, and I know at one point he can give me a game, maybe even 2 games. I'm confident, but I can't see them beating y'all 4 times in a week. No. Mm-mm.
Dicey Daniels seems to be the Jason Tatum stopper, Chill. He seems to be that guy that if you had to throw someone out there to stop Tatum, he shows up. Tatum starts shaking in his boots,
No,
I'm
not
very,
this.
very scared about Atlanta.
I'm not. I'm not as concerned with them as I would be. I'm more concerned with Detroit than I would be Atlanta, because I think about Atlanta in terms of their offense and the firepower that the Celtics have throughout the course of the whole playoffs. I don't think it's close to. I don't think Atlanta is close to that.
Are there
No,
any
it's just,
Western Conference teams?
I think Oklahoma City's got a shot. That's what I'm
OKC
thinking about.
has the
Yeah,
best shot at beating us.
I think Oklahoma City has a shot. Yes, I do.
Being
I
how
give
young they are, chill.
Yes, I give Oklahoma City a chance, but
Whoa.
I think that J-Dub, I think he's the linchpin, and I think that they're going to ask him, because when we get further into the playoffs, he's going to have to play better, and I don't think he's up to snuff on that part. The same way I feel about Evan Mobley. I
Right,
think
they're
they're going
just
to
not
ask
there
for
yet.
Mobley. No, that's it. I just don't think that they're there yet. So I think the experience of Oklahoma City and how good they are, I think that's going to take them as far as it can possibly take them until they run into the Celtics, who have very similar experience in just about everything that you have. We got it too. Everything.
Everything. So
and
it would be OKC then.
That's the team that I'm thinking about.
That's
Yes.
the only team. So
Yeah.
if Houston just so happens to get to the finals, they're getting smoked out because they're young.
I think y'all smoked the Lakers. I don't think y'all beat the Lakers. I think y'all smoked them.
The Lakers?
I think y'all
With
smoked them.
James?
I think y'all smoked them.
Chill,
I don't think
you're
y'all
a
beat the
LeBron
Lakers.
fan. You can't be. You
That's why.
your fellow LeBron fans.
That's why I don't want to see the Lakers in the finals, because not only do y'all smoke them, I got to defend 7 finals losses. I don't want to do that.
I'd love that. That'd be so poetic.
He don't want to do
the
that.
Celtics. He beat the Celtics in the finals when he was in Miami, and to end his career, how does he end it? Losing to the Celtics.
I don't want to see that. I don't. That's why.
You don't want to see that. Chill. You're
don't.
a fan. You're a fan of James. You gotta like pull through with James.
I don't want to. I don't want to see him lose again. I don't.
What if he does win?
Now I think that's
whoa. What
See,
is but there? Chill.
I don't. It doesn't change for me, if I'm being honest with you.
Well,
it
makes
doesn't.
it easier, right?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
I mean,
because then like
Jay,
it's like one championship.
But we're 22 years in. You either in or you out. I mean, what else needs to be done?
Well,
what else needs to be said?
The main talking points people bring up for MJ is the 6 championships to 4. So now it's like it's 1 championship off. Like, what's the difference now?
Man. Well, it took him 22 years to do it. Give me a break,
oh,
man.
Jesus Christ.
I'm good on that. So, all right, Jay, good to talk to you, brother.
All right, chill.
I gotta get moving. Good to talk to you, brother. I just feel like we're in a space where, I mean, if you haven't seen enough by this point, I don't know what to tell you. I don't. If you haven't seen enough by this point, I don't know what to tell you. What up?
Hey, OG, can you hear me all right?
What's up, brother?
Hey, my guy, how you doing today?
Running good.
I was just curious. Of all the kind of sleeper teams in the West, the Timberwolves, Clippers, those types, do you think any of those guys are capable of a run?
I think the Clippers are. With Leonard, I think the Clippers are. Yes. Mm-hmm. I do.
No,
he's so damn good, man. He is so damn good. Holy shit, Corey.
But that's it. Like I've been telling people a while now that watch out for Kawhi. Watch out for Kawhi. And I know they're going to be in a position where they're going to be the lower seed. Mm-hmm. But with a healthy Kawhi Leonard, do you see them fully capable of an upset and maybe making it to the conference finals, or is that crazy?
We take it a step further than that. Like when Leonard has been healthy, we've seen him take teams to the championship. We've seen that. We've seen him do that.
Sure.
That's not something that's ridiculous to think that he could do that. And this was just 2 years ago when he broke down in the playoffs against Phoenix. If he doesn't break down, I'm looking at the best player in the playoffs. I'm not looking at one of the best. I'm looking at the best player in the playoffs. Or if I got the best player in the playoffs, I love my chances against anybody.
Any given series, they could be.
I love my chances against any. I got the best. That's why I have not counted out Denver. I got the best player in the league on my team.
Mm-hmm.
I got the best player in the league on my team. And if I got that, I got a shot against any of you dudes. I got the best player in the league on my team who does a bunch of things that a lot of you guys don't do. Well, I got a guy in Kawhi Leonard on my team who's seen this movie before. He's seen this movie before, and he's conquered. I'm not going to sit up here and talk about Kawhi Leonard and say that, yo, Kawhi Leonard's a bum. I never questioned Kawhi Leonard's game, ever. My only question with him is, can he hold up? And he couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
That was my issue with him. He couldn't hold up. Physically, he couldn't do it. And now we're in a space where it looks like he might be able to do it. I'm already on the train. I was off the train. I got thrown back on it. I jumped off of it. I got snatched and got thrown back on it again. So I got to ride this train. I have to.
Hell yeah. No, I definitely understand. And I guess last little tidbit. James Harden with the Clippers. What do you feel he's going to be capable of come the playoffs? Are we going to see a James Harden that it makes the Clippers better, or are we going to see somebody that might hold them back?
I don't think that we need to see James Harden be astronomically better. But what I do need to see from James Harden is I need to see a James Harden who's a plus. I can't just see the same James Harden. That's not going to be good enough in the playoffs. He's got to be a plus. And it doesn't have to be 29, 30, and 12. No. But what he's doing now, that's not going to get it done. No. That's not going to get it done. When the playoffs start, I have to do more than what I'm already doing. I have to. If we're going to have a chance to win. And I can't kill us neither. I can't have 0 for 11 games. I can't have 6, 7 turnover games. I can't. If we're going to have a chance to win any of these series, I can't play like that. And we've seen him play like that in the past.
Right.
And in this particular situation, where we are with him today, what he's doing right now, barely shooting 40% from the floor, still a great playmaker, still can get downhill, has to be able to score better at the rim, has to be able to be a better shot creator, better distributor, and has to be solid on defense. I know I'm asking a lot. But what I'm getting right now, come playoff time, that's got to increase. Otherwise, we're not gonna have a shot.
That's great. I absolutely agree. Thank you, OG, for your time.
Right,
Hope you have a good night, man.
Brother. Yep. I am not on the fence about it. That's how I feel about the Clippers. And here I am, right? Here I am today. I'm not advocating for the Clippers. I'm sitting here telling you that I like what I'm seeing from Kawhi Leonard. I'm on the train. If you asking me to be honest with you, I think this train is going to crash. I do. And you pulled me back on it. I think this train is going to crash and I'm going to get killed. And it's going to be your fault because I tried to get off. You wouldn't let me off. You would not let me off. But I am not going to get into what Kawhi Leonard looks like or what could possibly happen with him or what history has shown me with him. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to enjoy what I'm seeing right now from him. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to enjoy what I'm seeing right now from him because it's actually dope to see him playing again. It's actually awesome to see him on the floor being productive again. Because it's been a long time since that happened. I haven't seen that from him in a long time. In a long time have I seen Kawhi Leonard on the floor and looking sharp like this, especially this late in the season, looking this sharp. I haven't seen it. I have not seen it. So I'm just enjoying it. So I hope you enjoyed this because it's about that time for me. It was good to see you guys. You know where to find me. If I'm not here every Monday to Friday, 9 a.m., I'm on TikTok. Good Morning NBA. If you can't find me there, you can find me on the panel from 11 to 2 on the Players Choice Network. If you can't find me there, you can find me weeknights right here on the Chilltown Hoops Network on Tuesday night. Me and my man Tony Tone, we do it. If I'm not here, you can find me on Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Me and my man Big Ox. And on Saturday at 12 o'clock, me and my man Big Ox do Chill with Chill on the Players Choice Network. This is where you can find me at. I'm not hard to find. I will see you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. Well, last time you talk to your mother. Call your mother. I will talk to you guys soon. But until then, take it light, but take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys tonight. I really enjoyed this.